all you channel mammals. Good to see you today. Say, I was just about ready to take these up above board. We're down in the sewing room of Yankee right now, and I've been spending some time trying to get caught up with mending projects and fixing things. And this is something that just happened. The other day, we had a cotton flannel top linen on our bed sheet, and when I pulled it up, it ripped in the center, and I thought, oh, that's too bad, because you know the top edge of it was like this, and which I had done with a little eyelet, an old eyelet, and an embroidered tape here, like almost like a ribbon, and it seemed sad that the linen was ripped, so I thought, well, I'll patch it. And then as I looked at it, I realized it was quite nearly threadbare. And so I thought, oh, I just have to throw it away. But as I pulled it all off the bedding, I realized that the bottom half of the flannel was like new, because it's the part that we almost never touch. All the part that's tucked in, down and around the edges and so forth. So, and I realized that this top edge was in perfect condition. So I cut the top half of the linen off and turned it into rags, and the bottom half I cut in half and made two perfectly wonderful, using the top border, pillowcases. See, just like real pillowcases. And it's something that we always need, because pillowcases seem to be the thing that goes the first, and I just didn't want to waste all this beautiful trim work that had served us well, and probably throughout many years. This eyelet looks like it might be from about 1930 or so, and it's a very sweet, handsome little eyelet. So we put it back into service again, didn't lose one stitch of this, and so I was getting those put away. And then also, this was driving me crazy, because when they're unfolded is heaps of tarps, plastic tarps. But all of them had been, before we had the horse trailer to keep our wood in, we had it covered under tarps. And the tarps were constantly getting shredded by the wind. And as you can see, some of them are, so we were, of course, normally people would throw the tarps out because they had holes in them. Some of the grommets had been ripped out, they'd been whipped and shredded, and all of that plastic just like ribbons through the wind, and they would have just been useless. But every year that we have problems with tarps wearing out, we do use them for drop cloths, we use them for covering certain things, smaller things perhaps, but maybe part of it had to be taken off. But you can't just cut it off or just frays, because it's actually very loose weave, these things. It's very loose weave. So what I did, and what I do every time this happens, I was really behind on it, is I stitch it at the end with a zigzag stitch. Here's a really small little piece. But I decided I just did not want to lose that, so I restitched all the glued down parts. Can you see the red stitching on there? I restitched all of that to secure it so it didn't fray quickly. You can see it on this side too. And then the parts that I had to cut off, I stitched. So this is a perfect small drop cloth for going under a piece of furniture or a certain part of a wall where you have to, along a border or something that you have to paint. And so this protects the rest of the deck and so forth. So there are just lots of ways that these are used. Or to cover a bucket whilst you're going to go have lunch, to keep the moisture in the paint. And so some of these are really small, as I'm showing you right now, and just partial, but just still useful. And actually there was very little that I had to throw away. And then some of them are large still, but maybe half their size. And some of them are really hardy tarps, but they had huge holes in them. So I won't unfold this one, it's too difficult. But I actually took a tuck in this one where there was a huge hole right in the middle of it, but it was too hard to patch in the middle of a huge tarp. So I just put a tuck down the whole center of the tarp, which pulled that whole, the part that had been ripped together. And really easily, I was making that back, to put that back into service. See, all these back in service. So, I mean, they'll last another couple of years perhaps. So, anyway, I was just working on that stuff, and it's done, and there's still tons more to do. But here's the thing. I don't know whether to sit down or stand up. I think I should sit down because you're right there, and I have lots of things to look at here together with you. Here's what, also while I was doing that, I wasn't thinking about that. Well, at first I was, and here's what led me to a deeper thought, or maybe just a parallel thought. Whilst I was thinking of doing those, I thought, you know, well, I think of this all the time, but it just came to be so prominent in my thought this time. I guess since doing YouTube, it's, as I've said before, it's such an amazing experience for me because it's like a testament. It's a time when I stand up and rehearse what's in my thought. And by rehearsing it verbally, orally, it becomes more, I find it becomes more conscious in a way, like reconstituted, just re-expressed in a way that gives more to me. I mean, it stays with me longer. That's what's wonderful about conversation and people together. We reinforce what's innate to us, which might maybe just kind of go by the wayside, like in an animal world where there isn't really a stopping and recounting truth. I just realized that it is the way we individually express ideas that actually is the only the only thing we can have control over. And it's huge when you think that we are all individuals all over the world, and all of us have the ability to change the world or to keep the world in care and each other. So that brought me to the next thing that was actually the most prominent on my thought over several weeks and months actually, and it's had up days and down days and wandering days and victorious days at the same time. But it has been rather a roller coaster ride for me because I've been struggling with the idea of the politics. And this is not a political channel on YouTube, but it is it's an opportunity to talk about ideas together. And I looked up the word politic because I knew there was something about that word that was, as the origin of that word, that was not what we've turned it into. As an almost negative word. We'll say, oh, well, that's so political. Oh, I don't pay any attention to politics. Oh, I hate politics. Oh, you know, this and that, and corrupt politics, and oh, just it almost goes hand in hand in some people's thought, and the idea of corruption and politics. And I just thought, no, there's something more to it. So I brought my dictionary down to the sewing room. Okay, so politic, of a person, in parentheses, prudent and sagacious. Oh, sorry. Now I need the light on because I can't read. Of a person, prudent and sagacious. So I looked up the words prudent and sagacious because I kind of thought they were the same meaning. But I'm glad I looked them up because it gave me beautiful shades of meaning, which enrich the idea of politic. Okay, so the word prudent means wise and acting with or showing care and thought for the future. provident, judicious, and frugal. Isn't that a wonderful idea? That is connected directly with the word politic. I'm going to read the definition of prudent once again. Okay. Wise, acting with or showing care and thought for the future. It means judicious and frugal. Judicious and frugal. Fair and frugal, meaning taking care and using only what we need. And then sagacious means keen mental discernment. And it means far-sightedness and judgment. And it means to penetrate through the surface. Sagacious, keen mental discernment. Far-sighted, penetrating, and judgment. So that idea of judgment and judicious, those all fit together there. So, in thinking, can we speak without that lineup? Yeah. Can you see me okay? I can move a little closer. I might have to turn that light on again if I read something else, but I just love that idea. That's what politic is wisdom and care for the future, and obedience and insight into judgment. And it just took the whole thing out of this up and down fear, really, of which way things were going to go. Because you know what it did? It brought this idea home that we are in control of and responsible for politics. We, meaning you and I. And I just thought that beautiful idea really started to give me a sense of home and a sense of calm. Not every second. I had to still battle it, and I still am battling it. And I just thought, okay, my goal for this election is to keep this in mind no matter the day before the election, the day of the election, the day after the election, that nothing changes except as I'm constantly listening. And it's not about what's going on without me. That within, that is where my constitution is. That's where my substance is. That's my guide. And I just, I find that every time I bring myself back to that realization, that I realize that nothing of the world needs to disrupt the kingdom of heaven, the spirit that's within us each. And I just felt such elation in that realization whilst I was down here working. I just thought that's what today needs to be about. And actually, there's a hymn that I was humming. One of my favorite hymns, actually, is a hymn that came to mind when there was a great fire at our studio, in our company, many years ago, that burned a beautiful barn that we had adapted for work almost to the ground, and we had to rebuild it, actually. So this hymn has been in my heart. I wish I could sing it, but I have not a very pretty voice. I'll read it, and maybe I'll just give you the tune so you can sing it. It says, "In heavenly love abiding, no change my heart shall fear. And safe in such confiding, for nothing changes here. The storm may roar without me, My heart may low be laid, but God is round about me, and can I be dismayed? Wherever he may guide me, no want shall turn me back. My shepherd is beside me, and nothing can I lack. His wisdom, there's prudence, right? And sagacity. His wisdom ever waketh. His sight is never dim. He knows the way he taketh, and I will walk with him. So there we have prudence and this beautiful idea of insight and far deep thinking is all right here. And then green pastures are before me. Green pastures, just think, that's this wonderful idea of caring for nature. It's there, it's all right there. Which yet I have not seen. Bright skies will soon be o'er me, where darkest clouds have been. My hope I cannot measure. My path in life is free. My Father has my treasure, and he will walk with me. So all the ups and downs of economy and all of those things, which all root back to our own love of nature, right? Economy, ecology, all of those wonderful words relate to this wonderful treasure that's walking right with us every step of the way. So that little hymn is always humming in my, it goes, let's see if I can, I'll just sing a little bit of it. In heavenly love abiding, no change my heart shall fear, for safe is such confiding, for nothing changes here. The storm may roar without me, my heart may low be laid, but God is round about me, and can I be dismayed? Well, that just gives you a little idea. Close, but anyway, just keep that little la 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 in your heart. Okay, and so I just thought, you know, the biggest responsibility we have every day this week and every moment from here on ever is to love one another, because it's scientific. It is the truth that we are one human race. We are all one. There are no divisions. There are no segments of society that are in want or in suppression or in or are suppressors. It's actually not true. And if any of us have stopped and met another man eye to eye and embraced each other's individuality, we find that we are one. Isn't that interesting that the idea of individuality is actually oneness? It's because it's facets of this beautiful prism that's ever flashing light and color upon us all. And all those expressions are always just blinking and twinkling together. It's amazing. And so we need to just hold to that and love what is true about each of us. It doesn't mean we love where one falters or fails, where one has a temper or believes in hate for a moment, believes that they could hate another person or hate our president or hate one who loves our president or only loves one segment of society. We all have to watch our thought on that. We have to. And, you know, we are Americans. We are at one, even in nationality. Our nation is one nation under God. Isn't that great? One nation under God. So nothing will ever rip us apart. It cannot if we love, if we just love our brother. And we can't go out and say, oh, I love the whole nation. I love all the world. That doesn't really say much, does it? But it only works when we work on it within ourselves first. What are our thoughts about another? We have to work on that all the time, don't we? And thought is where action starts. And so then our actions have to express that in each encounter, one by one. And I always love this little example. You know, when we smile, where does the smile start? It doesn't start with, you know, moving our muscles in some direction. It's not a physical thing. It's a mental thing. And when we frown, where does that start? It's not something that we do with our fingers or our jaw. No, it's something in our heart. And it's the same thing with health. Our good health. Our, what do they call people now, that they are immune to something or immune to, well, we are immune to the belief that there could be any invasion in our true constitution, in our true being. What constitutes us is our thought. And if we keep working with our thought, all of these things are lifted, and we don't need so many physical aids and cares. We find them within, deep within, and we become stronger and stronger until we are as strong as we are, as we always are. It's so interesting to me to see how all this knits together with this idea of politic, of this insight and this wisdom and frugality and care for the future and for all. And then I just thought one more thing. The last part of the lesson this week meant a great deal to me. And it's based on the Bible, which is all of our book, everybody, Jews and Christians alike. And I'm not sure, I think Muslims too have parts of the Bible. I don't know enough about their religion, but I know that they love God. And so we have this wonderful love here, where it says in Exodus 20, it starts with number 3 in that little chapter, the 10 Commandments, right? And these are laws. And it says that Moses discovered, thou shalt have no other gods before me. No other fears, no other desires, no other anything other than this all-encompassing love. I just love that. And then here's how the end of the lesson was in here. It says, based on that, it says, this is really amazing for the election. It says, I'm just trying to think where I should start. Well, it talks about the first commandment first in here in Science and Health. It talks about all of the qualities expressed in the first commandment. And then it says, one infinite God, good, unifies men and nations, constitutes, that's like the Constitution, right? Constitutes the brotherhood of man, ends wars, fulfills the scripture, love thy neighbor as thyself, annihilates pagan and Christian idolatry, whatever is wrong in social, civil, criminal, political, and religious codes. It equalizes the sexes and annuls the curse on man and leaves nothing that can sin, suffer, be punished, or destroyed. Isn't that outrageous? It covers all the issues in the campaigns. Shall I read it one more time? One infinite God, good, unifies men and nations, constitutes the brotherhood of man, ends wars, fulfills the scripture, love thy neighbor as thyself, annihilates pagan and Christian idolatry, whatever is wrong in social, civil, criminal, political, and religious codes, equalizes the sexes, annuls the curse on man, and leaves nothing that can sin, suffer, be punished, or destroyed. And I just caught one thing in here. Love thy neighbor as thyself. That was Jesus' first commandment, as an extension of the 10 commandments. Love thy neighbor as thyself. It sort of sounds, it could be taken two ways, but I think what's really fun about it and really helpful to get out of the belief of victimhood, which is a big controlling influence in society today. It's being broadcast to us as something that we need to dwell on. And I love that because it talks about loving our neighbor, but also loving ourselves as ourselves, both together. So we can't love our neighbor unless we first love ourselves. And that's not in an egocentric way, but in realizing this all-encompassing love that includes us. And if we each realize that, our natural ebullience will come forth and embrace each whose paths we cross, and we will be provident and loving and embracing of every man. And that inspires each other. So I thought that was really great. And then the last little thing in the lesson this week was really also important to me. I'm going to read, it's more than what's in it, but I'm going to read the whole thing. Ill-arranged notes produce discord. Tones of the human mind may be different, but they should be concordant in order to blend properly. Okay, so we should help all of our individual notes, all of our facets, all of our departments of life become in harmony with each other in our thought. Start with our thought. It says, unselfish ambition, noble life's motives, and purity. These constituents of thought mingling constitute individuality and collectively true happiness, strength, and permanence. That's what's coming out of our electing to make these notes commingle to form the constitution of us all. Well, folks, I hope I didn't intrude on your individual thoughts about things. I hope we understand the truth of Politic and stand by it, stand for it, and start within. Well, anyway, this is a lesson to myself. I'm actually finishing my conversation with myself today, and including you. Well, goodbye, and we'll meet again soon.